Welcome back to the Law Show. I'm attorney Brian Dailey, broadcasting live from high atop the Law Show studios in the home of Motown, Detroit, Michigan. Answering all your legal questions on News Talk 760 WJR. I want to remind everybody that after the show is over, don't hang up because we have the Law Show Extra. Hold on. If you want to make a call, you're trying to get in, you can't get in, keep trying because when we go off the air on News Talk 760 WJR, we stay on the air on thelawshow.com. It's 855-529-7469. You can also use that number 24 hours a day. We answer that phone all the time. We dispense free legal advice, which helps people tremendously. We've been doing it for 30 years, and we're going to continue doing it for many, many years. It's the listeners who have really made this show a success, and we can't tell you how much we appreciate it. I'm here with Matt Katchik. We're answering legal questions, and we're going to go right now and talk to RJ. RJ, welcome to the Law Show.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome. What can I do for you?
My question is, sir, I bought a house on a land contract, and I gave the gentleman $10,000 on the land contract, and supposedly went through the correct paperwork. We were in the house for 2.5 years, and one day we get a knock on the door. It's the bank, and they're sticking a foreclosure on the house. So we asked the bank what was going on, and they said that the owner got a home equity loan a few years back, and he defaulted on it, and we had 60 days to move.
So when you bought the house, did you go through regular channels? Did you do a title search? Did you get a title commitment? Did you do what a realtor would normally do when you're purchasing a home?
Well, we went to a realtor, and supposedly he was supposed to have done everything that you just mentioned, but apparently he didn't.
How long ago was it that you did this?
It was 2 years ago. So 60 days we moved, and we took him to small claims court here in the city of Romulus, and the judge gave us a judgment for our $10,000 for our down payment. Anyway, my question is the guy is 62 years old. He owns his own business, but he runs it out of his house. And I've talked to several people, and they say he's non-collectible, that I might as well throw this judgment away.
Well, you may be ultimately in a position where you have to do that or where that's the best thing to do. However, what I'd recommend is that you come in and talk to us first about that and let us do what's called a creditor's hearing. $10,000 is too much to throw away. I'm pretty sure that we'll be able to find something that we can recover. Even if you put it as a lien against his home, if he's got any equity there, you may have to wait a while to get it, but there's something that can be done. Call us at 855-529-7469. That's 855-LAW-SHOW on Monday after 10. Ask to meet with Scott Decius, okay?
Okay.
And
okay. What he did was he let this thing go to the sheriff's auction, and his mom bought this house back, and they still own the house, but now it's in his mom's name.
I still think that there's probably something we can do for you. You've been taken advantage of. You're the victim of fraud, and I think that you should pursue it. But it's ultimately your choice, right, Matt?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you've got to be sensitive. You got to be sensitive to the case because $10,000 is a lot of money. But once you get a lawyer involved, that money can quickly get eroded by attorney fees. So definitely the lawyer has to be very sensitive with what they're doing to make sure they don't rack up more in fees. But Scott Decius, like any good collection attorney, is specially trained to ask the right questions to try and find out if this guy has any assets that are garnishable and then to go after him. So his best bet is to call Scott Decius or any collection attorney, people who are specially trained to know what questions to ask at that creditor's hearing, and then if he's got anything, they can seize it. So definitely call Scott and get some good advice on that.
We're going to continue answering all your legal questions at 855-529-7469. We're going to talk to Marty. He's got a traffic ticket, but it wouldn't be exactly what you would think. Marty, welcome to the Law Show.
Well, thank you very much. I was in Las Vegas a year ago, and I was traveling 45 in a 35, and three of us were all traveling together, and three police officers stopped us, and all on motorcycles. And I was guilty, 45 in a 35, and I asked if I could pay it because I was only visiting Las Vegas for a couple of days, and they said, no, you can't pay it. And I said, well, okay, I'll go down to the traffic court. I went down to the traffic department, and they said they didn't have a copy of the ticket. And I said, well, I've got a copy of the ticket. Here it is. How much is it? How much do I have to pay? And they said, well, we can't tell you. ended up a Seinfeld episode because we kept going back and forth. Well, we don't have the ticket. Well, when are you going to get the ticket? We won't get the ticket for a couple of weeks. Well, can I pay it now because I'm going back home? You can't pay it now. Why can't I pay it now? Well,
Marty,
we don't have the ticket, but I've got the ticket.
Marty,
So
we got to get out of this wash, rinse, repeat. Okay, Marty, what's your question for us?
either I had to go back to Las Vegas to take care of the ticket or send them $300. They called it a bond. I had to post a bond, and then I have to renege on the bond, and they kept the $300. So 10 miles over the speed limit, it was $300. What can you do about that?
Well, Marty, the first thing I have to tell you is from day one, what you should have done is you should have consulted with a local traffic attorney there in Las Vegas. I'm sure there are oodles of them, and see what their advice to you, because they could have told you the best way to work the system so you don't end up in this wash, rinse, cycle, repeat thing that Brian was talking about. If you've got someone that can navigate the court system, they probably could have advised you as to when to call to confirm it was in the system, and then once it was in the system, to see if they could negotiate a deal on your behalf to try and keep it from going on your record. Because even though this happened in Las Vegas, the chances are extremely high that once it gets reported to your Las Vegas driving record, they will communicate with the Michigan Secretary of State, and it'll get applied to your Michigan driving record as well. And as you found out $300 later, you probably could have hired for maybe a little bit more than that, a Las Vegas traffic attorney to negotiate the system to try and keep it from going on your record. So for you, Marty, as well as anyone, if you get an out-of-state traffic ticket, don't think you're off the hook, because all of the states will communicate with Michigan and report it to your Michigan driving record. So anytime you get an out-of-state traffic ticket, make sure you consult with a local traffic attorney to try and assist you with that. And if you can't find one, please call me at Daily Law Firm, because we have connections with traffic tickets, attorneys all over the country, and we can easily assist you with hooking you up with the right traffic attorney so you can make sure that doesn't go on your driving record in Las Vegas, and then it won't go on your driving record here in Michigan. But that's the biggest mistake poor Marty made, is he tried to handle this huge bureaucratic system of Las Vegas on his own.
Thanks for calling the Law Show, Marty. We're going to continue answering all your legal questions at 855-529-7469. Now we're going to talk to Eamon. Eamon, welcome to the Law Show.
Hello there, Brian, and I wish you and yours a blessed Palm Sunday and a joyous Easter Sunday a week from now.
Thank you. Are you from the Emerald Isle?
Yeah, I am. Yes, that's right. I did try to wanted to consult with a fellow Irishman.
You were trying to hide you were trying to hide the brogue, weren't you?
Well, I've been here a number of years, so it's kind of...
you can take the boy out of Ireland, but you can't take the Ireland out of the boy.
But, Mr. Daly, could you tell me the information that I found over the computer? And we'd asked a policeman, actually a couple of policemen, what's the difference now between the law in Florida about the hold your ground against being a crime victim, and then here in Michigan, with the recent the story that's got a lot of notoriety down there in Florida.
Now, hold on a second, Eamon, and hold on, Matt. Knowing the Irish, the way I know the Irish, with the fiery tempers they got, you want me to give you advice on how to fire a gun?
Well, no, I have no gun. I have a shillelagh only.
You got a shillelagh?
60.
Well, an Irishman with a shillelagh can do a lot more damage than an American with a gun.
We don't have that in Livonia too much.
Oh, okay. What do you say, Matt? What's the deal here now?
All right, so here's the problem. In Florida, several years ago, they passed into something called the Stand Your Ground Act. And what that says is if you're in a public area lawfully, if you're not trespassing, you do not have a duty to flee, and you can use, I believe, any force necessary. Even if the person comes at you with fists or a knife, you can respond with a gun as long as you're lawfully in the area. That's why we've got this whole Trevon situation down in Florida, because that law is really broadly written. Here in Michigan and in most states in the country, you have a duty to flee if you're in a public area. The only place where you don't have that duty to flee is if you're in your house. If you're in your home, you do not have a duty to flee. You can use deadly force if someone breaks into your house, which is the way I think it should be. But let's say you're on a public street, even if you're lawfully there, if someone comes at you with fists or a knife or something, you have a duty reasonably to try and get out of the area. Now, if you're backed into an alley and there's no place you can go, you can use the force necessary to protect yourself. However, if you can run away, if it's possible, you have a duty to do so. And that's why if we had this Michigan law down in Florida, then the gentleman who shot Trevon would be doing a lot of explaining, because, as we all know, 911 told him to disengage, and he didn't disengage. Now, he was properly relying on the Florida law, saying he could stand his ground, but here in Michigan, he would have a duty to disengage and flee if reasonably he could do so, And that's why we got the whole problem down in Florida, because that stand your ground law, in my opinion, it's a big problem, and it basically turns the country into the wild old west, and we don't need that with guns.
Does that answer your question for you, Eamon?
Thank you for that insight. That I worked for the Board of Education in Detroit for many years, and let me tell you, fellas, that a teenager will hurt you. Some of them have grown big. They'll hurt you as well as a grown man and adult will. So I don't think Timmerman was all wrong. And Brian, there's a good radio show on the Irish American Show. Maybe you're aware of it. 1:30 p.m. every Sunday on AM 690. Thank you and goodbye now.
Thank you for that shameless plug. We'll listen and we'll tune in. We're going to continue answering all your legal questions at 855-529-7469. That's 855-529-7469. But we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be answering those questions at 855-529-7469. If you have questions you want to email, send them to questions@thelawshow.com. We'll print them off and read them if we get time. If not, we'll answer you anyway. If you don't want to go on the air but you have a question, call us anyway and follow the prompts to leave a message. We'll let you know. If you're near a computer, turn into thelawshow.com. Click on the Watch Live, and you will see yours truly and Matt Katchik answering legal questions. I am attorney Brian Dailey, host of The Law Show, founder of the Dailey Law Firm, broadcasting live from high atop the Law Show studios in the home of Motown, Detroit, Michigan, on News Talk 760. Stay tuned. After this break, we'll be answering more legal questions at 855-529-7469.